This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. From the podcast, you get short business episodes twice a day or so, plus interviews with brilliant individuals, leaders, drivers, people that we love to visit with. We're visiting today with Mitch Granger. Mitch is a wealth manager at Northwestern Mutual. I often think of Northwestern Mutual for insurance, but it's much, much more than that. He's also, in addition to being a wealth manager, he's an incredibly gifted person, building a practice, building a business, and also a magnificent tennis player, a great Division I college tennis player, or at least he was back in the day, but still magnificent. Mitch, can you take a moment and tell us a little bit about your team, the team you work with at Northwestern Mutual, and about yourself?
Perfect. Well, first off, Scott, thanks so much for having me. I am a listener of the podcast and just a big fan of you and all of your works, including your most recent book. So thank you. But yeah, no, you did a great job summarizing. My name's Mitch Granger. I am a financial advisor under Ryan Edlifson, under Northwestern Mutual. You had mentioned it. Insurance is what comes to most listeners' minds, most likely, when they're thinking of Northwestern Mutual. But doing the comprehensive planning, not only for our clients, but future clients as well. That really encompasses not only the insurance element, but everything that one would come across in their financial life. Been in the business now for a couple of years. I have a unique story. Was a client of Ryan Edlifson's previous to joining his team. And like you mentioned, yes, we're doing financial planning for 500 or so unique individuals, growing very quickly and rapidly, and currently as a business, just navigating what that means for our current clients and then also those that are behind the scenes as well.
Thank you. And typically you're doing business with families with $1 million to $25-30 million in assets or more. Talk a little bit about what trends are you watching currently in the sort of investment management business, the wealth management business, and what are you hearing from clients and from people that you visit with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. Yeah, I mean, uniquely, we're following, macroeconomically, we're following all the trends that you do a great job of, actually, of walking your listeners through. That could be, inflation, interest rates, election year cycles, all of those types of things. But really, we're more so focused on zooming out. To give context of who we work with, think of what I'm about to walk through here as a baseball diamond. We're working with individuals and families who are starting at home base, potentially coming out of college in their early 20s, starting their careers for their first time, rounding first base, starting to have families, buying homes, having kids. That's the stage of life that I'm in today. Really trying to work with those types of individuals and families just on the fundamentals of finances. You mentioned it in your book, keeping a diligent savings rate, understanding your inflows and outflows, and then really working with the types of families that are rounding second base who are through that first phase of their financial journey. These are the types of clients that are really coming into their prime earning years, working with them into complexities of, hey, how do we really grow our wealth? How do we track for financial independence? How do we really tighten the screws and get really nuanced with the wealth that we do have and maximizing it? And then lastly, the types of clients that are, on their way to rounding third, going to home, which is, we're starting to really think about financial independence as a reality. We're, taught our entire lives to save and invest and do all these things, but there's an element of financial planning too, of getting people to realize that we're closing in on that ultimate goal and allowing them to understand their own, the impact that their financial wealth is going to have on themselves, but the future generations as well. So sorry if that sounds a bit brushed there, but really we're working with so many different types of people, and in the context of their personal financial plans, we get nuanced, but more so trying to zoom out and make sure that each of our clients understands the broader financial picture as it relates to them.
No, thank you. And I absolutely love that, in fact, and that sort of context for it. And I love that fact of the different life cycles of people that are just, getting going as young professionals to people that have had capital events, to people that are trying to really find to get to totally financially independent and so forth.
Yeah.
When you look at the next 6 to 18 months, Mitch, what are you most focused on and excited about? I know besides your young family, which is the most exciting thing, from a professional standpoint, from a business standpoint, what are you most focused on and excited about?
Yeah, for sure. No, you nailed it. Personally, obviously, growing a family myself, which is fun. It allows me to relate to our clients kind of in that stage. Those clients that are between 35 and 45 years old in their prime earning years, doing all the things that I'm doing as well, allows me to relate and anticipate. But zooming out, what we are most excited about, yeah, I think the addition to me to this team and being able to connect with that segment of the population is allowing Ryan, which is our senior advisor, to really focus on what has become sort of our bread and butter type of client, which is someone who is potentially 45 through 65 years old in their prime earning years, and getting really focused on how we can best serve them in this stage of life. So, for example, we work with a ton of clients at Apple and Meta and Tesla. Many clients that are, part of their compensation packages at those companies are, company stock and diversification strategies and things of that nature. But really working with them to hone in on their goals specifically and how we can, leverage what they have at their current company, and then obviously leverage the tools that we have to get them there. But yeah, more broadly speaking on our team specifically, really, I think just deciding, we've been generalists for a long while, and really focusing on the specialization, which you mentioned in your book, being lean and being an elite team, and now really deciding is this the time to expand? Is this the time to grow? And if so, are we going to do it in the right way, all while still giving great planning to our clients along the way?
Thank you, Mitch. And talk about, I've watched you working at your prior firm, building a tremendous business there, and just really watching the same discipline and evolution here. This tremendous mix that you have of dealing with people, helping people with complex issues, but also this discipline to, do the number of meetings, the number of contacts with the right quality people to build your business. When you talk about building a business and watching others build businesses, what advice would you give to emerging leaders? And then how much of your sort of like, now you and Ryan played, I think, number one at one point at Northwestern in college tennis. You played great college tennis. Obviously, there's a mix of athleticism and discipline and mental psyche that goes with that. What advice do you give to evolving leaders? And how important is that discipline, that mix of mental psyche? Because you've got this real win-win attitude, which seems so positive for someone who's such a great competitive athlete, this mix of win-win. But how many things are transferable? What advice do you have for evolving leaders?
Yeah, great question. I've loved the responses on the podcast as of late, and there's so many directions that you can go and giving advice to young leaders. I think an area that is substantial and probably not spoken about enough is mentorship. And you've just named Ryan, right, as one of my great mentors, but we're very similar in a lot of different ways. We share the tennis background. We share, the winner's mentality, the discipline, all those things that you just mentioned. So I think taking a step back, if I was in front of someone coming out of school or really deciding on their career for the first time, yeah, I would say don't underestimate the power of being around really good people. And I think in this hybrid world that we're living in, this work from home world that we're living in, I think it's something that is potentially going to be absent from, this generation and beyond, is just the significance and importance of being around people who share the same vision, people who are rowing in the same direction, being around people who share your character and integrity and all those various things. And I just look back on my career, and starting even with my own father, who set such a great example and foundation for me. Obviously had a head start there, but in my first role coming out of school in the software technology world, I had two amazing mentors that just taught me the importance of working with integrity, not being afraid to pick up the phone. As you know, in business, the tip of the spear is always sales. There's sales across all segments of business, no matter where you're at. And just being able to pick up the phone, run into a storm, have tough conversations, just the importance there. And then lastly, the stage of life I'm in today with Ryan, just feel so lucky to be next to someone who's elite, someone who shares the same goals and vision that I do. And I would encourage, all newcomers into the world of business, and then also even people our age and beyond, just continuing to be mentees, being open to connecting with as many people as possible, because you just never know who's going to impact your life or not.
And take one moment on this concept of, as I watch generations, so much of us get so much positivity from the interaction, just the daily, constant, impromptu interactions we had at the office. They could be both motivating, they could be encouraging, they could be learning, they could be so many things that happen in that environment. But obviously, there's an exhaustion factor that comes with working in an office and having to commute day in, day out. So as you try and bridge this working from office versus working from home, this hybrid world environment, I know you do a great job of making the effort to get out and meet people in person. How important is that to developing connectivity versus just, doing your job on your computer and doing a great job, and you've got all the conveniences of not having to run every place and commute, but you've got the downside of not connecting at sometimes deeper and impromptu moments with coworkers. How important is it in that hybrid world to make the effort to get out and visit with people and meet with people and talk to people and so forth? What are some of your thoughts there?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, firstly, you can't replicate, looking someone in the eye, shaking their hand, being in their presence, both, giving energy and receiving. You can't emulate that, over, a virtual call. But I think it's important and again, this advice isn't just, I guess, given to young professionals. It's really to everybody, starting to look at yourself as a business, right? You talk about it in your book all the time about how important it is to build strong culture. Think of yourself as a business, and if you're building a culture within yourself, right? A key component of that is the people that you work with, people that you do business with, and how important is it to be in front of those people, building not only their culture but your own. And so again, this could go into a million different directions, but just don't underestimate the power of being in person, and also the power of reaching out, being curious, learning as much as you can about someone. And along the way, I always say this too, and my friends probably are sick of me saying it, but I feel like I'm the combination of the ingredients of the best people I've ever met, starting with my father, my mentors that I just mentioned. We all have our own different recipes, but okay to take core ingredients from others, spin it into your own recipe, and then you have a finished product, and you just can't do that sitting behind a desk at home. So just would encourage those to seek community, because you just don't know what the impact that could have.
Thank you very much. Mitch, you do a wonderful job of building a practice, a team. You and Ryan are incredible. Ryan's an incredible leader, just fantastic. Mitch, people can learn more about you on LinkedIn or any place else. People could learn more about Mitch Granger.
Yeah, absolutely. You can search my name in LinkedIn, Mitch Granger. I'm listed under Ryan Edlifson in the Northwestern Mutual Network as well. And if there's any listeners of the podcast would love to meet whoever comes our way. And who knows if we're a fit, but we always have an initial meeting. We want to work with high character people. Obviously, there's some other ingredients there too. But yeah, love meeting new people. If it's a fit, great. If not, we'll give you a few ideas that likely you can take and implement on your own, or we can get you headed in the right direction.
Thank you. I'll ask you one more question, Mitch, and this may be too complex for a young mind to answer. So if you're afraid of the question, let me know as I get started, okay? So the question is, who is the better instructor, Is it Corky Layton or Josh Layton?
Well, I've played against Josh Layton. I've never had the chance to play against Corky, but Corky has coached players that have coached against me, and I might be defeated against Corky Layton students. I don't know if I ever beat a Corky Layton student, so my final answer will be Corky Layton.
I'm not sure you can get away with that answer if Josh listens. Mitch,
the problem with that answer is I'm playing Josh this weekend. So
there you go.
If he hears that, he'll take one of those overheads at me.
Thank you very much. Mitch, what a great pleasure to speak to you. I know you took the most complicated questions and were willing to answer them. Corky with the better teaching record against you, Josh somewhat mixed with the playing record against you. But both magnificent instructors, Corky and Josh. I know that's a segue. I know that's a sidebar, but thank you, Mitch, so much for joining us. What an amazing professional you are, and what you and Ryan are building is just fantastic. Thank you for joining the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.